you'll see out at practice a lot of move the ball periods. We'll simulate different scenarios, different substitution packages, down and distances, and all of that was kind of ramped up for today to put guys into different spots. So we're getting stronger as we're going this third day block, and we got a hell of a good practice planned. Additionally, the team placed Nate Herbig on reserve, retired today. It was a personal decision by him. He was a great teammate here, and we wish Nate absolutely the best. So I wanted to make sure pass that information along to you today. So let's get rolling.
Dan, I wanted to ask you about a specific rep from yesterday. There was a play where Bill runs up to the line, sees a hole, darts right through it, and on the other end is Tyler Owens. They have a nice collision there, and to keep going. I'm just curious from both ends of that play, what did you see, what did you like with those two young guys kind of going after it?
Yeah, you picked a good one, Ben. I'm not even sure if this is on. We showed that actually yesterday in one of the team meetings. Each day we show plays in the team meeting, things we like, things we need to see different, and that was one of the ones. I loved the cut. There's actually two of them, Ben, one to the left, back to the right. The hole was small, and he hit it. And then as it gets to the next one, can you have a plan for the middle field safety? And that was Tyler on that play. So that's the lesson. Just because I got through the hole doesn't mean it's ending. You know, can I now make another player miss? And it was also the right technique, what we're looking for Tyler. That's the iron sharpen and iron, Ben, of hard tackle in the middle of the field, putting Tyler into that space. That's why you do it with the pads.
And for Tyler specifically, we saw the raw athleticism last year. Have you noticed anything different with him in terms of his coverage, his instincts, or other parts of the game that maybe help him get on defense this year?
Yeah, and you saw a little bit of blitzing yesterday as well. You don't need the mic unless we have the. But I thought the blitzing, the middle field stuff. So we're still exploring some as we're going, Ben. But he's had a good first block for us.
Still was a rookie last year. Now there's oftentimes when he's talking with Trey, and you can see now veteran helping rookie. Is that what you want out of your guys, and how cool is that to see?
Yeah. Mike he's got a lot of special traits leading as well, and that's not surprising to see that. It was in his first year more difficult to do that, and now he has, stepped into that space more. And honestly, for Trey, like, what a great teammate to have that resource to talk about different things. But yeah, he's really has, like, I've been bragging about him for a long time, but Mike has a lot of leadership to him, and it's, you hear me talk about developing the leaders within, he's very much in the front of that list.
How much more versatile is this defense, and how much was that a point of emphasis of getting more versatile in the offseason with who you added?
I think the versatility was always there, John. Now we're finding some guys to put into some of the roles and seeing what they can do. But I like what I've seen so far. I'd say after 5 days, Joe's probably halfway there on the install of the system and the package. So we have more to do. And then the next phase after that is finding the right times, the right places. And that'll be from like New England time-ish of the practices in the game there, to the start of the season, and how we'd feature them and how we'd put the guys there. So put in all the scheme, then start putting into different spots.
I just had a quick question about Mariota. We only saw him in some limited snaps yesterday. I know you don't have to report injuries, but are you able to give an update on kind of?
Yeah, he'll do the same part of that today. He'll just do more of the individual work, and then different days we're like ramping certain guys up really high and certain guys down low. But yeah, Marcus, like, sometimes just precautionary to get the skill work stuff and not the teamwork. So it's kind of custom Nicky as we go through. But yeah, you'll see similar process with him today, and then he'll ramp back up more in the next block.
And then just a schedule question. You guys have an off day tomorrow, and then it's just going to be walkthroughs Friday. Just curious, what was sort of the thinking behind it?
Yeah, we know it's a long training camp, so once in a while they'll be in a block of 2 out of 3. So that's leading up into the next set that goes into New England, some high practices. So you kind of want some highs followed by some lows to recover some highs. And you need the high days. You need those. So what you want to avoid is high and then higher, and then you can get at risk. So it's by design just to keep the highs up. And you'll see a lot of plays today. Today's one of the high ones.
Hey, Dan. Good morning.
Good morning.
Luke McCaffrey's been getting a lot of opportunities with the ones, especially. What have you seen from him, and kind of what are you hoping to see from him as training camp unfolds?
Yeah, two players come to mind going into second year on the offense regarding the skill spots, Luke and Ben. And in different ways, they both made their impact, and you see them just the confidence, so much more knowledgeable in the system. There was a play Ben had on a seam route yesterday that took a certain check against the blitz that he and Jaden had to go execute. A year ago, that would have been harder for him to have that nuance, and you saw that yesterday with Ben. With Luke, it's been a lot of the same, where he can go outside and inside, but the smallest skill work adjustments have been made. He was always somebody that could pick up on the offense quickly. He's got a background as quarterback, but you kind of see, like, maybe before there were still some times, I think like a quarterback, now you see him thinking like the receiver. And I think, although that sounds like counterintuitive, like more knowledge, wouldn't that be better? The finest of the details at the receiver position, that's what I see now.
Coach, hi. This has a follow-up to what Adam asked you the other day about building a culture and sustaining a culture. There's a documentary coming out on Thursday called Nothing But a Winner, and it's about the Alabama football program from Bear Bryant to Nick Saban. I talked to a couple of the Alabama players, but in the coaching fraternity, how much and how impactful, one, maybe that program has been, and who inspires Dan Quinn? You know, a lot of players talk about how you have inspired them. Who inspires Dan Quinn?
Yeah, I'll look forward to watching that. I had the opportunity to work with Coach Saban for 2 years at the Miami Dolphins, and I learned a lot from him on standards and defense and a philosophy. And so the best of the best have those at the highest level, and certainly Coach Bryant and Coach Saban, everybody knew how you get down. Like, you're part of this program, behaviors, practice, expectations, play style, identity. And those are the things that, as a coach, you wanted to follow and see, and you have to develop your own as a coach. But yeah, I'll very much look forward to watching that, knowing Nick firsthand. A lot of people do. A lot of players do, because I have learned a lot through the years. But a number of coaches have really made an impact on me. Certainly on the college side, coach by the name of Joe Gardy on my kind of the way up. His son is on this staff today. My first NFL, coaching job was with Steve Mariucci with the 49ers. It was a standard, and so I keep coming back to that, and Nick and Pete, and so those were some ones, standards, philosophies that helped me frame my own.
Hey, Coach, wanted to ask about
super loud guy. Sorry.
Yes, wanted to ask about Eddie Goldman. Obviously, now he's kind of been here for a few months. Obviously, not played a lot of football the last couple of years between opting out for COVID, retiring, unretiring. He played last year, but now that he's been here in training camp, what do you feel like he's added as kind of an older guy, local guy in the defensive line?
I've enjoyed coaching Eddie. I've followed him for a long time, and our decision to bring him here was based on the play last year from Atlanta, and so visiting with Raheem, how he did, with their program, and I didn't get a chance to spend much time with him in the off-season program, but in the first 6 practices here, square and strong. He's, really committed in that way in the run game, and that was our vision of him coming here to add things to the defense on the early downs. And as we're getting started, we only had 1 padded practices, but I've been, impressed by what I've seen so far from Eddie. I like his demeanor. I like what he stands for inside, being square and tough, and that's where we're at.
Hey, Dan, to kind of follow up on defensive line stuff, outside of Von Miller, a lot of the bodies you brought in were bigger guys. As you look at kind of the less experienced players who are kind of fighting for roster spots, do you highlight, I guess, guys who maybe bring a little bit more speed to that room, and so you have a little bit more diversity in types of players?
You definitely want all, in terms of how we'd feature guys and using speed and size, having variety and the ability to do with different people at defensive line is really important. You want some guys that can absolutely rip it, they're jets at 3 technique and on the edges of players. And you want guys like, Eddie that we had referred to, and Dietrich and Javon that can just play so damn square and tough. And if you can find the right balance of those, now you really got something, because then you can work the players in a game or in an opponent that you'd like, and not every matchup's the same. So having, you know, a big crew that has different skill sets, that really, really helps.
Coach, you said yesterday that assessment was going to begin on McLaurin. Is there an update to that?
One more, please. I'm sorry.
You said yesterday assessment was going to start for McLaurin. Any update to that?
On McLaurin?
That started
sorry,
yesterday.
thank you. Yeah, assessments on Terry. Yeah, he's on the PUP side. He's doing good. He'll hit all the rehab pieces during the practice time, so it's actually a good time for that to come up. Why do we do that during that time? That's when the trainers and the medical staff can devote so much of the time to he and to Sam during that spot. Then in the afternoon, they're part of the meetings and can watch the walkthrough portion. So, you know, just hitting all the markers, but I don't have a timetable for PUP and when that would change.
Ask you anything that you're super excited about that you wish the sports reporters would ask you more on. You come ready to talk about it, you just don't get to answer those questions.
I like engaging about the team a lot. You know, we talk a lot about the locker room. People have talked about the word culture, but I love talking about our team. I like talking about the leaders that are here because there's a lot of players that don't get the recognition that are like absolutely heavy hitters on our team in the locker room. So inside the walls, they know people like Nick Ballore and Jeremy Reeves and Percy Butler. Outside, we don't talk about them as much. But when I say the impact that people like that have, it is absolutely like one of my favorite parts.
Morning, Dan. I watched you several times over the last couple of days. In the early part of practice, you're very hands-on with some of the drills with some of the players, like these teaching moments. It seems like you really embrace that aspect of coaching, of that one-on-one, hey, do this, do that. Can you explain that? Where does that come from? Is that your coordinator days? Is that just the natural coach in you? Because it really seems like you really take an emphasis of doing that one-on-one work with certain players.
Yeah. It's one of the parts of the job that I love the most, the teaching. In a lot of instances, you could take out the word coach and put in the word teacher. And those are parts, whether it's in the classroom, whether it's on the field, constant reinforcement, constant teaching, challenging to get it right, really high standards for doing things. And so those are parts of it that I really enjoy the most, and why I wanted to become a coach is to do that kind of teaching. So I don't usually go too far from that. Moments like right now, teachers don't do, so I don't love that as much. But I do love that part of it, and especially those individual sessions where you're working the skills. Because if we can get those sharper, then we know the player can get better. And as a coach, that's kind of the whole part of it. Like, the thing that lights me up most is like seeing people get better. And if we can make everyone better, and that's my job also to help coach the assistants, and if we can do that better, then all of a sudden, like, the whole tide starts to rise. But I do love that part, and I'm glad that you brought that up, Scott. All right, thanks, everybody.